Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to show you how to set up and support your capital or general fundraising project in just a few simple steps. If everything goes smoothly, the entire process should take less than an hour. First step is to go to the Chrome Web Store and download MetaMask if you don't already have it. This is the wallet you'll use both to sign in and to authorize the transactions required to deploy your project. Once you've installed MetaMask, you'll see it among your Chrome extensions. Open it and follow the instructions to create and configure your wallet. During setup, you'll be given a secret recovery phrase, typically consisting of 12 words. Write those words down and store them somewhere extremely secure. Never share the phrase with anyone. Anyone who obtains it can potentially gain control of your wallet and its assets. And yes, we recommend storing a backup of your recovery phrase on metal. That may sound excessive, but remember, a successful raise could mean administering hundreds of thousands of dollars and supporting hundreds or even thousands of investors. But don't let that responsibility discourage you. Our platform supports multi-signature wallets and multiple administrative roles, allowing responsibility to be distributed across treasury administrators, token administrators, and other authorized parties. Just as in a traditional organization, no single individual needs to become a single point of failure. Okay, once you have MetaMask installed and you have your account set up with your public address and your private key, you will go back to EquityMint.org and you will click Get Started. And there you'll be asked to register. And if you've never signed in before, you'll see the screen that shows you register person. You'll enter your full name. In this case, we're using Lisa Sherman, and you'll enter your email address. Now, click Next, and it'll ask you to add your wallet. Click Add Wallet, and if you set up MetaMask correctly, you'll see the public address of your wallet. Just click it and then scroll down, and you'll see under public key it shows that address. You have to do nothing else here except click register. When you do, it's going to ask you to verify. It shows that your wallet's connected, and it shows you click the verify button, and then you click request code. We do not send a code automatically until you request the code. Then you go to your email and you get the welcome message, and you see the code here. Copy it, 760589, and type it in or paste it. And then click the check box here, the little check mark button. Now it says, thank you for registering. Please log in again to begin operations. In some cases, it will keep you logged in. Either way, you'll sign in again unless you see a button here that says operations, which means you're already signed in, and then you can just press that. So if this is what you see, press sign in now. And now you're signing in for the first time, and you just enter in that same email address that you registered with. And now sign with key. You will get a MetaMask pop-up. Click confirm to confirm the signed message, which is just your public address and a timestamp. This enables you to log in a very secure way using the elliptic curve signature provided by the MetaMask wallet. Okay, so now you click sign in. And now you're signed in, and it's going to ask you to sign the contract. So you'll sign the EquityMint contract to be an official issuer on the system. And so you click it, and now it's downloading the contract. You'll see a PDF renderer. You'll read the terms, and you'll scroll down to the bottom. If you agree to these terms, then you will scroll down to the bottom and complete your registration. So that is around page. Here it is. These items, half of them are filled out for you to make it easy. Enter your full legal name. Enter your number. Enter your country of residence. And now sign. It'd be kind of fun trying to sign as Lisa Sherman. Okay. And as soon as you lose focus on your signature, it's dated and stamped with a hash, and you save and upload. The PDF is created. It again will take a little longer than usual because of not only the size of the document, because we're using the video recording software. So now it's done. The terms are signed. You can view what you just signed. Here it is in a PDF viewer, and you can scroll all the way down. There doesn't seem to be a way to quickly get to the bottom of the document here, so we'll just close the PDF viewer. But it's there for you, and you can always download this contract at any time to review it. Again, it's now yours as well as ours, an executed agreement. So the next step is just to click operations. You're in. If you were signed out, you would see sign in again, and you would sign in. So just click operations. And in the next few seconds, the components you'll need to create your token, to create your contract stack, of which the token contract is just one of many contracts that you're going to be granted here in the next few minutes. You'll just go into where it says issuer, and you hover over this portion of the issuer object. We call this a data view. So you'll hover over this portion of the data view, and you'll click the little plus button here. See that little plus button where my mouse is? Just click it to enter new information about yourself. Your name, your tax number. You don't have to actually have your national tax number with us, but you should enter some number representing who you are here, and an alternate ID. Your issuer URL, email, phone, address one, and in some cases, depending on the nature of your raise, we may actually need that. So your national tax number. So actually enter in your EIN number if you have one, and your capital raise is for an SEC exempt or an SEC registered security. And then when you're done, you will click the upload icon. And if you're missing anything, it'll tell you what you're missing. When you're done, if you've done it correctly, it'll let you upload it. And once you're done, you'll see a button here that says reload. You will reload, and when you're done, you will see what information you just entered, and there will be one row representing who you are. In this case, we are US FinTech. So your company appears here, and any project that you've deployed will appear here. In this case, we've deployed 4 projects already. We're going to scroll down to the last project we deployed, which is the actual EMINT token itself. Now, for you, once again, you'll have a blank slate here in the data view object representing your token issue system or your project. Here you are as an issuer on the left, and on the right are your projects. Now, since this is a blank slate, you will hit plus again, just like you did before, and you will add everything you need to add representing all of the information that's necessary to deploy your token. So, for example, you will enter the name, you'll enter the project name, for example, right? So this would be called, in this case, whatever your project is, whatever you're raising money for or representing here. So your project name goes here. Some elements cannot be filled out. As you'll see, they're like grayed out a little bit because they're presented from the issuer data view, including the public address that you signed in with. That's not changeable. And this is who you are as a deployer. What is your personal ID? Not your company necessarily, but you as a person. Any information you can provide about who you are is great, but remember this does go on chain, so don't include all of your information unless you want it to be in the public domain. So just give some information about yourself, perhaps the last 4 digits of your license, or just your first name, something to represent you in whatever capacity you want the public to see. Now, you will hit the plus button here. Notice that 2 of the items are categories, and they're in bold, token and treasury. So you open token, the token category, and you'll see these items have to be filled out. Token description, the initial total issued, even the issue class ID, right? 2 of these items are not used. The issue class ID, but it still has to be filled out. And the registration audit email here at the bottom is used later. We don't use it here at your deployment, but you have to enter something in here. Later, in post-deployment, we'll show you that in this video too, you'll be given an opportunity to add an audit email, which is extremely important if you want to memorialize the link between your client's data, their actual personal private data that they enter in their questionnaire, and their blockchain public address, right? You want to get a CC email to preserve that information.
As well, there's a project flag setting that allows you to access that information later through our centralized accounting portal, as well as a webhook to your own CRM, bits 30 and 31, I believe, which we'll go over later. Notice where the cursor is now. When you've completed all the information from add or edit mode, press that upload arrow. The data will be saved, then click reload, and you'll be ready to deploy. With all of your information shown as it is now in get mode, notice the deploy button.
There's a couple of things to point out before you're ready to deploy. We're going to go back into the ad again. I want to show you something that's really important. Down here, where it says token doc description, this is one of the most important items. This is your subscription agreement. And where it's hosted on the internet is extremely important. You have to have it hosted somewhere. But before you host it, it's best that you actually contain the token address you're going to deploy with. How can you possibly know that? The way you know it is you go into use cases or platform issuers, and you click pre-calculate my token address. That's simple. Just click pre-calculate, and it's the large address right here. Okay, so just click the copy that, and then what you're going to do is put that into your document. Post that document at your website, right? And the token is referenced somewhere in the document that says in your signature portion that this is signed digitally, and the shares or whatever it is you're representing is actually a token, and that token is with the address of such and such, and it's on such and such a chain. Okay, so now let us continue, and we'll go back to the EquityMint portal here, and back into operations. Just click operations again. It'll bring you right back to where you were. You actually specified mydomain.com, right? /doc, whatever it is. Now you're going to select that document locally from wherever it might be, and let's say it's in your downloads folder, and it's some offering memorandum, right? You'll select it, and the hash will be calculated automatically. You see that? Fill out the rest, and then upload it with this button here. Upload all your project details here, and if you've entered everything correctly, it'll just tell you to save. You'll click save and then reload. And that's it. Once you're reloaded, you'll be able to deploy. Let's go back into get mode to look at the project that we just added. And now we click deploy down at the bottom, right next to the chain symbol. Okay, now before we hit deploy here, we're going to show you what each of these items mean as quickly as possible. We've already went through some of them, like the project name, you as a super, which gives you the ultimate control over your project, who you are, what your name is, what your ID is. Fill these out partly or completely. If you do not mind that they appear in the public domain, you'll fill them out completely. Now, the token description describes kind of what the project name describes, but perhaps in a little bit more detail. The token name, what are you calling your token? What is its symbol? What are the maximum allowed decimals? Now this is important because in most cases your token is representative of something in the real world analogous to shares. So shares are not divisible. So for the max allowed decimals you will probably have 0 here. Just so FYI. We always use 18 behind the scenes, but as far as your clients interacting on a secondary market or what you're allowed to sell and what they're divisible by, typically you'll keep it at 0. Just FYI. Initial time lock months. This is important for Rule 144. If you're filing an S1, you'll probably want to set this to 6 months. If it's a 506C or a 506B, you'll probably want to keep it at 12 months. This is between you and your legal counsel. If it's not a security at all, this could be 0. Minimum price time lock months. This is something after your time lock expires. If you're supporting follow-up secondary activity on a DEX that is part of your contract stack, we call it a liquidity pool. And if you are going to activate that, which you can do in the treasuries category, you might want to have a minimum price lock after the time lock expires. Now this is not something that's generally used in practice, but we offer it. And then you would establish what that minimum price is. Perhaps for another 6 months of secondary trading, you have a price floor. That's established here in this min price and min price time lock. Now, the stable coin that we support most typically is when you were in ad mode, there was an opportunity to see a list of the stable coins that we support, and for now it's just USDC and USDT, although the Euro C is also supported, and as is the yen. And now let's open up treasuries. We support what's called a distribution manager and a primary project revenue treasury. Now the project revenue treasury is where any fees that you associate with your project are generated, come into that project revenue treasury if you design it that way. And we'll show you that later under post deployment on how to set up your fees if you have any fees other than the platform fees, which are fixed. Now, some of those platform fees, at least one of them, the holder fee, comes out of your project revenue treasury. So you want to make absolutely sure that if you selected a fee template that includes a holder fee, that you support that in your project revenue treasury. But these values here are simply what are the thresholds and what are the pools that you're supporting. Are you supporting a NAV pool? If this is 0, that means no. Are you supporting your liquidity pool? If it's 0, it means no. If it's 5 or 10%, for example, it means a portion of what comes into your project revenue treasury will be distributed to the liquidity pool, or to your NAV pool if you're operating a fund, or to the distribution manager. Pretty much everybody's going to use the distribution manager, although you're not obligated to do so. You set a threshold. That means whenever, say, $10,000 comes into your project revenue treasury, it will automatically get distributed to the distribution manager, which has its own threshold that you set post-deployment for determining when to distribute to the token holders, for example. And what percentage are you distributing to the token holders is set in this distribution rev share percent. So if that's 0, then that's turned off too. So look at it this way. The easy way to look at this is project revenue treasury over here, and then 3 sub treasuries that are supported by it. Liquidity provider, which is liquidity pool. Distribution manager for distribution to your shareholders or token holders or whatever they are, depending on what it is you're doing. And the third is a NAV pool for that has redemption periods that are on or off, and they're specified here. It's that simple. These are the most important attributes that we already went over. The token doc base URL. Where is your subscription agreement or your offering memorandum hosted? And what is its doc hash? We calculate that for you automatically when you simply, if you recall earlier, we showed you how you select your document locally. Obviously, if you've made your document and you're the one who posted it at your domain, you have a copy of that same document, the same exact document that's at the domain. It can't have been modified, right? If you modify it, then it will have a different hash than what you have, and you'll have to, in your post-deployment, upload the agreement again, which we support. We support changes to documents. Investors are tied to the document that they attested to having viewed when they register to purchase. So when you make changes, it does not prevent a user from saying, hey, that's not the document that I attested to, or that's not the document I bought into, for example. So be wary of that. We support both project issuers and participants in terms of verification, right? It's a double-edged sword, and it works to everybody's advantage if you're above board and telling the truth. Now, you will press the deploy button finally, right? Now, this transfer base fee before you hit deploy, again, You could set this to 0 later, but it must be non-zero to begin with. You must have some sort of transfer fee to support the holder fee of the project revenue treasury. Some fee templates have a 0 holder fee, which means this can be set to 0 later, but you will need to set it to something now, just so that you are aware that it exists. Otherwise, it will fail. So you could set it to 10 cents if you selected a fee template that has no fee, that has no holder fee. And it explains it here under read this first. It says transfer base fee, read this, then pick your fee template. It explains here, right? And you'll be able to pick your fee template right now when we hit deploy.
Before we do, we're going to show you one last option. The distribution supply basis, which is a well-known term in accounting, simply means that if, for example, you have 1 million tokens that you're issuing and only perhaps 1,000 of them has been sold, and you've set your distribution rev share percent to say 10%, and you are about to do a distribution because the threshold of say $10,000 has been met, for example, you don't want to give all of that to just one shareholder who happened to buy 1,000 tokens. You might, but you probably don't. So what you do is you make a distribution supply based number that's typically about 10 to 20% of your total amount that you plan to sell. So if you plan to sell 1 million and you're issuing 1 million, more importantly, you plan to sell 1 million, but you've only sold 1,000. If the distribution supply basis were 100,000, then only 0.1% of the distribution, 0.1% of the total revenue, which is 1% of 10% distribution, would go to that one token holder who has 1,000 tokens, right? So then this number becomes meaningless only after 100,000 tokens. Hit deploy. You'll continue in proxy mode, and then you'll click auto deploy. Then you'll click the fetch models and deploy current phase and continue. Now, right after this is done, it's going to ask you to select your fee template like we just talked about. Now, in this case, if you're not coming through a white label, you can just look at what EquityMint.org has to offer, right? And if you are coming through a white label, you'll get even better rates than this. So you would, if you are coming through a white label, you'll enter what your marketing partner or your white label partner has given you to enter in the domain key. In this case, since you did not select any and you're deploying directly for EquityMint proper, then these are the options granted to you. And for example, let's say I like option 2 because I'm only going to have 20 to 100 investors in my project. Or let's say I am creating a utility token and I plan to have thousands of participants, and I don't want to be on and I'm going to be on a centralized exchange too, and I don't want to have to deal with a holder fee or transfer fees to support that, because then centralized exchange transfers will fail. Then I would go with this. But the deploy fee is $8,000 here, deploying directly. If you deploy through a partner, it's less. And similarly, if you deploy this flavor through a partner, this option, instead of 2,000, it would be 1,500. Now, if you want to go for the free mode, where there's no deployment fee, there'll be higher sales registration fees. Here it's $1,000. That means your participants pay anywhere from like $4 to $1,000 to participate, which means if you're expecting only a few investors of like $500,000 to $1 million each, or a minimum of say $100,000, then and you set that afterward, then a sales registration of $1,000 is nothing, right? So you take that into consideration. And obviously, once they register, they're not guaranteed to be able to purchase, depending on your own questionnaire criteria. We're going to get into that next. Anyway, I'm selecting the free deployment. I'm going to click Use Selected Template, which it has this 2,000 deploy fee, and we're ready to go. And everything is ready, everything checked. And now you'll see at the bottom here, if everything checks out, deploy part 1 of 3. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of this video. Yay! You'll deploy part 1, then it'll change to part 2, and then it'll change to part 3. Once you're done, you'll go back to the main operations data view. I'll show you that in a minute. First, you're going to approve the $2,000.
Obviously, it shows this for new contracts. So you're going to acknowledge the alert and you're going to confirm. And once you confirm the spending cap, the next step is to actually make the transaction happen. And after you've deployed part 2, you'll get a little screen that tells you to save the token to our servers, the token address. And it will do that. It'll walk you through it. You'll hit reload, and then you'll deploy part 3 of 3, and you'll be done. Each step on the Ethereum chain at this time, based on the busyness of the network, how busy it is, you'll spend about $20 per, so it's about $60 in ETH that you'll need. So let's cancel out of this because we're not deploying because we've already done this. And let's close this as if we finished our deployment. Yay, we're all done. And close this, and you'll be back here at the project data view, and the token value will be filled in as it is here because this was already deployed. Now what you'll then click is the view or manage, either one of those, and what you'll see here at the bottom, you'll see all your contracts that are in your controller, and you'll see this link. Now this is the link you'll give to this link here is the link you'll give to your prospective investors, right? So that they can register, and then if you approve them, invest according to your terms that you've set up with your legal counsel, right? But the most important thing before you get to that is this setup, the post-deployment setup. So let's copy this link right here. You're going to copy the link, and you're going to go into the post-deployment setup by opening that link. Now let's do that. That link is this. And this is where you're going to set up, this is actually part 2 of the video now. This is where you're going to set up here. You're going to click setup, and there'll be only 8 things that you need to do. One of them is to set your project flags and your questionnaire. This is the most important step. So and when you're done, you just check it off that it's done, and you go on to the next step. So Sale Admin, it opens up Sale Admin and brings you to the project flags section, which shows you what you'll need to select from. What kind of offering do you have here? Is it a 506c, 506b, Reg S? In our case, we're supporting Reg S too, but we forgot to check that, so we're going to check it now. What else are we supporting? Do we want non-US investors to be accredited? We could say yes, we could say no, they don't need to be, they're non-US. Do we want to have a KYC AML verification required? This is only if you have a third-party registrar, so the system knows what to hand off. So the third-party registrar knows. Now, in our case, we actually want to do KYC AML, even though we don't have a third-party registrar. We're doing that ourselves. Nevertheless, it's nice and official to show that. A registrar accreditation verification is required, right? These are the things that your third-party registrar might want to ask. Registrar jurisdiction residency verification required, right? So we can check off these things, even though our project is not supporting a third-party registrar. You can support Jumio through this platform, and you can support SumSub. Now, what else do we want? We want the user to upload a 5 megabyte or less PDF that contains his accountant's letter or contains proof of that he's accredited, right? Making, has $2 million in assets or making at least $200,000 a year, whatever the requirements are. We want it all included in a single doc that does get uploaded. And then we want to receive an email copy. So that's bit 6 over here. Platform registrar plus email round trip required. We want to get that CC'd email, but we also want the platform to store the questionnaire on the platform for 60 days so we can access it in a centralized way, at least temporarily, until we have a chance to export it to an SQL file and use it, or CSV file, and use it on our own servers later, or what we also provide for you guys is a local store. So you can actually just organize and maintain your investor list right there on Chrome in your desktop, and periodically export the files and email them to yourself, so they're not just on your computer, right? Obviously, if you don't have anything in the cloud, you don't have a CRM, we support a basic system for you guys. For more robust projects, we also support a robust centralized structure through something called Data Cloud OS. That is a subscription-based service, and you can contact us if you're interested in that. Now, this is it. Now, there's another thing here. In addition, this is what's called your dynamic questionnaire. We also call it the project flags, and you see here, project flags, sales compliance, and questionnaire options. You might want to add some custom questions, which is really cool. You can add a question here. You select the type of question it is, what type of answer are you expecting, and then you actually ask the question. You could say, are you over age 30? You can ask some weird question like that, right? And it will actually get stored on blockchain, and you'll get the results of that here, and the testament hash includes the question and their answer. So it's really cool. You could have up to 20 questions if you want. And so we're not going to have any questions for our case. There's even default questions, actually, by the way. You could select a default set of questions, which are, we had it here before we added our own. Here, pick a default set. Government benefits. Append to current list. So we can apply, and boom, suddenly there's 9 questions, right? Let's not add these questions. And now, what we're going to do is set the project flags. If you wanted to set these questions, you set them here onto blockchain. We're just going to set the changes we made. Remember, we added reg s, right? And we checked off a couple of other things. This off-chain mirror is for your decentralized, for your own stack, your own server accounting, like your own CRM. You might want to send a handoff to that CRM. We support that. You would check bit 31. We're not doing that for our platform project, however, so we don't have that checked. Just click the set project flags when you're ready, and step 1 will be done for you. Then you're going to move you're going to move tokens from your token contract into your sales contract, right, to support your sale. We'll show you that next. I'm going to confirm these changes. I'm actually going to make these changes because we actually need it for the platform project. But this is step 1 of your post-deployment setup. So this is kind of cool that we're actually showing this in the video. You'll really need this. This is an important video. So it's setting them right now. Transaction has been sent, and there it is. Project flags updated. Very cool. Now, we can check our setup up top here again. These are all the options available to you, by the way. There's a lot of options. We're just doing the basics. So in setup, we can check this off now. It's been done, right? Now let's go on to review pricing and set staggers, right? This is where you want to just go back into Sale Admin again, and you want to check your pricing, set price and staggers, and what is our current price, so we can and what are the payment tokens that we support other than the stable coin associated with the token for fees, USDC. We also support USDT. We even support ETH. You can too. Now here's the pricing down here. This is important. We set our price for 221 for our token. We have no staggers, but we could add them. A stagger means after a certain amount is sold, you might want to raise the price or lower the price. Who knows? So you can do that down here with the staggers. And you can set your base price here just by changing it here. If you wanted to change your base price for whatever reason, you can do it here. Anyway, this looks good. No changes needed here. So we can go back up to setup, and we can say this step is done. So now what's next? Activate your token. So let's go to the admin screen, and we want to scroll all the way down to the bottom. This is just bringing us to the table of contents. But to activate the token, we want to hit this guy right here in the table of contents. Okay. Now we are down at pay the activation fee and activate the token. And in this case, it's only a $20 activation fee. We can pay it, and it goes from the project into the platform project revenue treasury, whatever that fee is according to the fee template that you selected. So this will adjust to $20. Why it takes so long is another story. But so then we can confirm it and pay it, and that will actually activate the token. Let's do that here. And now the token is about to be activated. Once this is done, then we can check off in the setup and continue on. Oh, I had to approve that first. So I approved it. Now I hit confirm, send the $20, and now the activation, activating token. And great, token activated, fee paid, $20 USDC. So that step is done. Now we can go back up here. We can say, we can click setup, and we can check off token is activated. What's next? Now, I want to set my project CC email for self-search. Do I want it to be public on chain? If I did, I would go back to Sale Admin and do that. But if I want it to just be private, I'll go into Registrants Admin here, and I'll connect
And I'm going to add the email address that I want to get CC'd at. Remember we set bit 6 earlier for the flags? Well, this corresponds to that. What is my CC email? So now that I have just signed a message so that I can access the registrant's server side, if I want to add a private email, I'll do it here. And I'm going to add self-cert at EquityMint. But first, let me read the current email. Oh, look at that. It already is self-cert at EquityMint, so I don't have to save the audit CC email. Now, let's say I'm a really big company and I wanted to make that, I didn't want to just put it there, or I didn't want to put it there at all, but I wanted to actually be on chain. I would go to Sale Admin, and I would look in the table of contents here for project email. And here, I would actually add the project email here, right there. And I would put the self-cert at EquityMint.org as the project CC, and it says it used for CC the project, right? And this is, but it's not going to be public information. The world will know that this address exists. Doesn't matter. I've got great filters, and I don't want to just store it as a hash. I want the actual public address to be there, and this will also work for CCs. Otherwise, if I didn't have it here, or I didn't have it at least in the registrants part, and I did have bit 6 in the project flag, the user will not be able to register, right? So that's very important. Anyway, you would click add official email, and then you'd be done. Why it says this, add official email is not a function. Perhaps we changed this I'll look into, but we probably changed the actual name of that method on chain. So we will go back and research that. In the meantime, it's not needed anyway. Let's go into step 4. So this is set, right? Set your project CC. We showed you how that's done. Move tokens into the sale contract. Then you'll go on to the next, you'll activate the sale, and you'll be done. And then next, we're going to show you what it looks like for a user who wants to purchase the token. So let's just show you this, swap and transfer. We want to move tokens into the sale contract. Let's do that. Let's connect to the swap, and you'll go under executive peer treasury. These, you're going to move from one contract to the other under executive peer treasury. The source treasury is the token. See, issue token here, and then the recipient treasury is the issue token sale manager. How much do we want to transfer? Well, we've got a balance of 210 million tokens, but according to our own perspective, we're only going to move 21 million. But as a test, we're just going to move 1,000 tokens in. In fact, you know what? I could move all 21 million right now for sales, right? So I could actually move, but for now, you know what? I'm not. I'm just going to move 1,000 tokens, and we're just going to call this. We'll call it test. Actually, no note is allowed because it's not it's not an admin withdrawal, but it's just an executive transfer. So that's it. The amount of tokens you're going to put into the sale manager from the token, you specify them, which is the total amount you're going to sell, and then you execute the peer treasury transfer. Press that button, and it opens up your MetaMask, and you do it, and then you're ready to roll. In this case, we're just going to do 1,000 as a test, and we'll show that went over. And when it's done, you'll see that the balance has changed. You see the treasury balance has now gone down in issue token, so it worked. We could also see that in our statistics, which are shown if we open up the statistics section, live token statistics. We could see that, yeah, let's go 210 million, but a little bit less. Here is the exact amount, which doesn't show that level of detail in the contract. And then the holders actually is 2. Probably does not show the smart contracts as holders. The holder only include non-official smart contracts. Now, let's see. If we wanted to see what we have in the total sale manager, there's 1,000. There it is right there. Okay. Now, we can check off that we did that, right? We moved tokens into the sale contract. And so now there's only these 3 steps left, and you're ready to set your sale. So thank you for watching. I think you can figure the rest of this stuff out. The offering document and contact manager is to update your offering. Remember, we said you could do that. Just show you that really quickly. If you do have changes to your offering, you can set it here where it says where was that subscription agreement right there. Click that and select the description. Select where it's hosted. It could be hosted at the same place you have the other one. So the only reference to the old one would be what the person has, and the hash of the old one is still maintained on blockchain for any dispute resolution. So that's important. You'll choose the file and you'll add it. When you choose the file, the hash code of that file is automatically calculated and shown here. So you can just add it to the trail. So now you've got a new document. It won't work until you enter. This is version 2, like fixes investor risks, for example, or adds to investor, update to investor risks, right? And the document URL is where are you hosting it, right? So what is your domain name? It's like mycompany.com, and then you would probably say, if you didn't have like an alias, you would probably have the PDF mentioned in the file name. So you might say token offer .pdf. Or token offer v2 if you really want to preserve that the old one existed. You can have a new URL for this one, right? And add to trail. Remember, you can't erase what you did, because if the original investor maintains version 1, he can still have that to go to port along with the original hash code of that document. And that's, you can see that right here. Look, load doc trail, right? You can see the doc trail of everything that's been loaded before. Look at that timestamp, August 12th. Here's the title. Here's the current hash. That never ever changes, right? So that's really important. You can have a trail 50 documents long. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can do. And again, we'll show you all that later. Thanks again for watching. Very, very informative video, we hope, on setup. We've never shown how the setup works before. And now you activate your sale as the ultimate step. That's also down at the bottom of the sale admin. So here in sale activation, goes all the way to the bottom, and here it is again. Here it is to sale activation, activate sale. Inactive, deactivate sale, activate sale. So activate the sale. And that's it. Part 2 of this video, which is going to go over exactly the most exciting step for you guys, which is this link here. This is the actual link that you're going to send users to, right? They're going to come right in. They're going to go right into the kind that you can send, investors, participants. They're going to go right into the registration step. They'll connect and discover your token. They will start the registration process, and they are forced to download the document that is your subscription agreement or your offering, whatever it is, and it will not let you purchase. It will not let them purchase until they've registered and that they've certified that they read it, and they attest to this with an actual wallet message. But before they do, they have to fill out the questionnaire, of course. But here's where they download the document, right? And if it was a restricted offering, there'd be this, right? Refer email address and all the stuff associated with a restricted offering. Well, this should not show on a 506D or on a 506B. Why it's actually showing right now, I might also inadvertently check 506B. I have to go back and check that as well. Normally, if it's a 506D, you would not see that. You would not see this. But it's good that you guys see how this works for private. So this means project admin had sent the specified email with a PIN, right? Code PIN or document encryption key in some cases, right? So corollary, this bit selection was correct, because even though we didn't have 506B check, we did have bit 0 check, private offering only. So that's why we got that pop-up for the users. So we're going to uncheck that, and we're going to set the project flag without that check, right? And now that pop-up's not going to come up anymore. And by the way, that pop-up should also have room for a one-time code. So the way it works is an admin sends an email to a prospective participant for a private offering, and that email contains an encryption key and a one-time code to represent the document, to get access to that document, which is hidden behind an offer gate. It's typically the way it works, and we have that offer gate code for you, so you can embed your document in that. And the way that works is here in, if we go back to the table of contents on the fair admin side, where it says refer commit hash. You see that? Right here is where you can send a refer email. Like I was referred by, a project admin, John at company.com, and me taking care of that. I am John at company.com, right? I want to invite this investor in, an investor with lots of money, investor A, at test.com, right? This guy, I'm going to give him this referral access code, and that's going to be in the prompt. And I'm also possibly going to include a document encryption key that I may have already, or I'm going to generate it here, and that's what I'm going to use to encrypt the document that I'm going to store directly. The document that I store, if anyone just accidentally got to that link, it would be encrypted, and only people that have the encryption key will be able to decrypt it, and their referral access code if it's coming through a gate. Not coming through a gate, then you just need the encryption key. If you want to be really, really secure, so that somebody accidentally getting the encryption key and giving it to all their friends wouldn't work, you can hide the document behind a gate that requires the referral access code. It actually stores that doesn't store it on chain, but stores the hash of that on chain. So this is the commitment hash. And it shows right here, this is the referral bundle that gets sent. You can send it to them, and once you've generated it, you can download it and email it, but you can also send it to them. First, it makes you download it before it allows you to send it, and then you can open Gmail with the ability of Google activation. That's because it makes you activate it first. So to activate this referral hash first. There's the hash for that. And then you can send the code and key to the investor. Right? So it makes it really easy for you if you're doing a 502B type offer. Now that we've set the flag, if you go back to the user, the participant registration, investor registration, you'll see that when we connect and discover, and we start the registration, that it's gonna verify the URL is good, ask me to download the document, read and verify my copy, and it's showing me it here. So now I have it again. Let me close all this stuff. PDF view. Now it says I downloaded it and read it. So now I have to choose the file I just downloaded and read, and it's going to say, is this the same one, right? It's going to make sure that I have, right? Image offer, that is correct. Verify the selected document. So it's going to verify that matches on chain. Proof of possession, there it is. 2 random 20-byte witness license capture. Continue to registration. So now you're into the questionnaire itself, right? So this, makes it really sure, it protects you as the project admin by making damn sure that the user agreed to the terms. So when he fills out his questionnaire here, when he's done, he's going to get that message that appears over here in Report Ready Evidence and Audit Tools. He's going to get this message. Actually, we could just take the time and take it so you'll see what it looks like. John Doe, email address, john@text.com, referred by nobody. And we see referred by email is still showing in the questionnaire. That's because we still have bit 1 checked, which says refer email necessary. So that needs to be unchecked if you don't want it in your questionnaire. Are you a U.S. person? If I said yes, it wouldn't work here. Or say no. Am I a non-U.S. person? For Reg S, yes. But I'm still not affiliated with the terrorist group. I'm not an employee authorized by the 15th. This because we require a document, so you got to upload like your license, for example. So I'm just gonna pick anything for now, just to get through this as quickly as possible. But you would do your license and other information here, and ID. What is your ID number? And then, it says you're ready, but if they
there's still some required fields. The hash update, there's still some fields to be filled out. This is my IP to show that it matches that I'm. So IP audit. Oh, it's saying that I'm from the U.S., right? So it knows that, right? So I'm going to say yes, I'm a U.S. person, and I'm going to fill out the accreditation stuff, and I'm going to and I don't hold a 37 license. Okay. Experience level, I'm going to say advanced, but I am going to also, I'm also going to change my country to the United States and state, Kansas, whatever, overland park. Now let's see, will this work? Referral access code must be 8 to 64. Ready, questionnaire complete. Okay, self-certify and get registrar signature. Okay. Now, simple offerings are going to have a simpler questionnaire. But look, this is really important. Look, the investor signs it, the potential investor, right? Signs that he's the owner of the wallet. He signs that in good faith he read the document, but that references the token of currency. It references the token of currency. And I verified the agreement has a cryptographic hash matching the one set forth below. The basis of the offering is here. Rule 506B of Reg D or 506C or Reg S or crowdfunding or registered offering, non-security, issuer reliance and discretion, a lot of stuff. And then it's dated here at the bottom. All the information, timestamp, UTC date, the referral commit hash, right? This is really important. If that's the match, it's on chain. If it doesn't, it won't go through. Right? So this is really good for bubble fees, actually. Although we have to change that question actually. Not be forcing a referral when bid zero is not checked. Now let's confirm that. What we're going to do is we're going to go here and look at the flag again to confirm that in fact. Let's go look at these flags. What do we got here? Now let's go to flag. We gotta go into the data admin. Look at the flag. Here, project flag. Let's open that up. And bit zero is no longer checked. Oh, but look at that. Referral required to begin registration. There it is. That's our issue. So if we uncheck that and we save this, right? Set project flag. So the system was actually functioning as it should. So set project flag. Let's set that. And let's confirm. First, I'm going to confirm that this was necessary for the user side, right? That's going to go right ahead and see if there's anything missing. So I'm going to do this. We'll go back. Now it will no longer ask for referral information. Since we're already trying to do this, it locks my questionnaire. And of course, it won't allow it for several reasons. That all of these things passed, but the referral thing didn't. See that? So we didn't add that referral system in hash. So this is good. That failed for the right reason. But I think that's enough for this video. You can see how robust the questionnaire dynamics are. And connect and discover, start registration. We downloaded already. I've downloaded, I read it, choose the file, and select the file, verify the selected document, and now continued registration. I trust the domain. I read and agreed to the subscription terms, and enter the information. Look at that. Doesn't ask for a referrer anymore. So
from here, as a participant, I fill out the questionnaire, click the certify in the wallet, and immediately I get an email, and then I push a button in that email, and that allows me to self-certify as a participant. From there, I am either eligible immediately to purchase tokens right there on the spot, or if the project has selected bit 3, which requires manual whitelisting, then the project itself, getting that email that the self-certify has happened, because they get a carbon copy, as you know, we showed you how to set that up earlier. The project then decides whether they're going to manually whitelist the participant, or if they have a third-party registrar to do that for them. Okay, Thanks for watching.